All right, everyone. Welcome all of you to You Can Achieve YCA. A very warm welcome to all of you. আজকে আমরা যেটা করব আজকে আমরা একটা নতুন সিরিজ শুরু করছি। আমি জাস্ট একটু ইন্ট্রোডাকশন দেব, একটু ব্রিফ দেব, স্টেজটা একটু সেট করব, and then in the next sessions we will straight away go to the theories and how it can affect the organizational culture. And trust me, this is hugely important. This is so important for any organization. তার কারণ অনেক সময় যেটা আমরা করে ফেলি, হিউম্যান ক্যাপিটাল বা অ্যাসেটকে আমরা গুরুত্ব দিই না। অ্যাজ অ্যান অ্যাসেট আমরা হিউম্যান ক্যাপিটাল ট্রিট করি না, যে কোনো বড় অর্গানাইজেশন হোক। মোস্ট অফ দ্য বড় অর্গানাইজেশনে we do it in that way. But in India, since we are talking about some organizations of India as case studies, but whenever I talk about business scenario, business theories, my own experiences, my own theories, whenever I talk about that, that's of the global standards. And mostly I talk about the world, global business or world business. It can be from United States, it can be from United Kingdom, it can be from other European countries and from any other country in the world. But in India, when we look at the entertainment sector or the media entertainment sector, more importantly the entertainment sector, যেখানে movies are getting made, where we make the movies actually, there are different sectors. There is no unified Indian cinema, so to speak, but there are different woods and all that stuff. Bullshit, most of them, but few are doing really great work, and people are also accepting that. But many have fooled people over the years. They are getting rejected nowadays. Now, in the case studies, I will go through all of these companies, or maybe I don't want to mention them because it's like uttering a slang. But what I will do is I will do it from the business perspective, different components of business, how we can apply. We can take a case study approach, without name calling anyone, without telling anything. We will talk about the business aspect. For example, if we talk about the human resource management, we will talk about it. We'll talk about the company in terms of labor management, human resource management, how they treat their human resources. It's not about some fake people who are actually vouching for the company, but overall, what is the scenario? What is the culture? What is the culture of the company? Is it because in some cultures you thrive, in some cultures you get confused, and there are some cultures where you get nourished. You feel like giving the extra thing, you feel like going the extra mile. So we will talk about Herzberg's motivation theory, where we will talk about the hygiene factors and the motivation factors. Hygiene factor not only in terms of physical hygiene, also intellectual hygiene. Suppose you are surrounded by people who are continuously gossiping and talking about shallow things. There is a saying that the great people talk about the ideas, and the mediocre people talk about the things, and the low people talk about people. So when they are always talking about things and people, there is a lot of mediocrity around. You cannot do great work in that scenario. So, and that culture also depends a lot on the top leadership. Many people try to make the excuse and they try to avoid the responsibility, but you have to understand one thing. From the top leadership, people emulate looking at the top leadership. So from the top leadership, the attitude, the behavior, the cultural character that that gets propagated to the bottom of the pyramid. So whenever you see something great in the bottom of the pyramid, you can understand the culture is great for the company. Now, I have named it as mindset, psychology, motivation, but we will talk about social sciences. Because whenever we are talking, just before that, if you haven't subscribed, quickly subscribe, click the like button, share it with other people. I'm coming back. Now, so in any culture, if you take any culture, when we talk about the culture, we have to think about the social sciences. We will talk about the power. We will talk about the power games we play. We will talk about the group dynamics. We will talk about how the group gets formed. একটা গ্রুপ কিভাবে তৈরি হয়, তার কটা প্রসেস আছে, ফর্মিং, অ্যাডজর্নিং ফর্মিং থেকে অ্যাডজর্নিং হয়ে যাচ্ছে যখন, তার মধ্যে কতগুলো স্টেপস থাকে। আই উইল টেল ইউ দ্য 5 স্টেপস। কিভাবে একটা গ্রুপ হয়, সেখানে লোকজন কিভাবে আসে, তারা পার্টিসিপেট করে, তারপরে আবার ছেড়ে চলে যায়, মেবি কখনো কখনো গ্রুপটা কন্টিনিউ করে যায়। যদি আমরা প্রজেক্ট স্পেসিফিক ওয়াইজ দেখি, তাহলে একটা প্রজেক্ট যখন শেষ হয়ে যাচ্ছে, গ্রুপটা ডিসপার্স হয়ে যায়, অ্যাডজর্নিং হয়ে যায়। আর বিফোর হয় ফর্ম, কিন্তু তার আগে স্টর্মিং, নর্মিং, এই যে ব্যাপারগুলো হয়, আই উইল জাস্ট এক্সপ্লেন all those processes. But in one term, if you have to know one term, group dynamics, group মেম্বারদের interaction, সেগুলো কিভাবে হয়, what happens in the group. Now, to begin with, first you have to understand what is the difference between a group and a team, right? Now, a group can be a set of individuals coming together. It may be a collection of individuals who coordinate their efforts, রাইট? আমার হয়তো অনেকজন লোক আছে যারা নিজেদের এফোর্ট গুলোকে কোঅর্ডিনেট করছে, হয়তো একটা কনসেনসাস অ্যাপ্রোচে আছে, কোলাবোরেটিভ অ্যাপ্রোচে আছে, তারা একসাথে চলে এলো অনেকজন লোক মিলে, তারা আমাদের একটা গ্রুপ ফর্মেশন করলো, ঠিক আছে? বাট একটা গ্রুপ আছে, সেটাকে আমরা টিম বলছি না কেন? জেনারেলি ইন ম্যানেজমেন্ট থিওরির ভাষায় যেটা আমরা বলি, যখন ওটাকে আমরা একটা টিম বলবো, দে শুড শেয়ার আ কমন গোল। এবার সেই কমন গোলটা কি হবে? ইটস এ বিগ কোয়েশ্চেন, কমন গোলটা কি হবে? আমি বলছিলাম না টপ লিডারশিপ, বটম লিডারশিপ। জেনারেলি কি হয়, আমি একটু খেলার ছলে বলছি, ক্যান্ডিড অ্যাপ্রোচ নিয়ে, দেন আই উইল গো টু দ্য হোয়াইট বোর্ড অ্যান্ড আই উইল ড্র সাম স্টাফ। But today it will be a very short session because I am just giving you an introduction. এরকম ভাবে খুব একটা introduction দেওয়া হয় না। So I am mixing social sciences as well as communication also. Because when you are a part of the group or a team, communication plays a very important role, whether you are in a leadership position or you are in a team member position, right? The way you share your ideas, the way you share your opinions, all these things matter. You can articulate in a better way, you might not be able to articulate in a better way. Sometimes the non-verbal communication or the verbal communication, all these things matter. But ultimately we are working towards something. When we are in a professional environment, we have a shared goal. Now, generally, what I was talking about is, if we look at the pyramid, generally at the top level of the pyramid, we think about the strategic aspects of a business. We take the strategic approach towards decision making, right? In between, in the middle portion, we take the tactical approach. In the lower part, we take the operational approach. Broadly, if you look at it. So in the operational part, if you look at it, you will be having the engineers, technical people who are actually doing the work, getting things done, who are actually doing the work. Tactical, they are guiding the other people, line managers and other people who are under who other people are working, the tech people are working, who are actually getting it done. So that's a big role. But if you look at the big picture people, the strategic people, strategic thinking people, is the CXOs and the top management, they are getting information from the bottom of the pyramid and in different parts of the pyramid, right? So if you want to run a great company, you have to listen to the bottom of the pyramid because they are giving you a great feedback. Now, আগে generally যেটা করা হতো, if you talk about হিউম্যান রিসোর্স ম্যানেজমেন্ট, অ্যাপ্রেজাল হিসাবে ইয়ারলি একটা অ্যাপ্রেজাল হতো। আজকাল দিনে if you look at the post pandemic behavior, we call it the new normal sometimes. So in the new normal, the communication scenario has changed a lot. We have got a hybrid workplace. So before, it was only the physical workplace where people used to go to work. Sometimes they used to take holidays, or due to some circumstances they used to stay at home or work at home or whatever it is. Maybe they were traveling for official or professional reasons. They used to take the time out. They were not present at the physical office, right? But now at the hybrid workplace scenario, especially after the pandemic or the post-pandemic new normal, what happened is, we got accustomed to the hybrid approach of work. Maybe you are working online, right? Work from home. You don't have to go to the physical workplace, but still you have to talk to the managers. You have to talk to the human resource people. You have to talk to other people of your organization. So the communication should not get disrupted, right? The communication is going, and the culture. Now, how you can maintain that culture? Then I will come to that point where I started with. What is the difference between a group and a team? একটা গ্রুপ আর একটা টিমের মধ্যে ডিফারেন্স কি? গ্রুপে তো অনেক লোক একসাথে চলে এলো, একটা কাজ না হয় করছে। সেখানে ইন্ডিভিজুয়াল সাইকোলজি, যখন আমি ইন্ডিভিজুয়াল পিপল নিয়ে কথা বলছি, দেন আই উইল টক অ্যাবাউট দ্য সাইকোলজি। যখন তারা একটা সোশ্যাল কনটেক্সটে, একটা সোশ্যাল সিনারিওতে চলে এলো, বা যখন তারা একটা গ্রুপের মধ্যে চলে এলো, উই উইল টক অ্যাবাউট সোশিওলজি অলসো। যখন আমার কালচার নিয়ে আমি কথা বলছি, কিভাবে সেটা ইভলভ হচ্ছে, যদি আমি ভিশনের সাথে অ্যালাইনমেন্ট রেখে বা স্ট্র্যাটেজির সাথে অ্যালাইনমেন্ট রেখে, দিস ইজ দ্য কালচার আই ওয়ান্ট টু হ্যাভ ইন মাই ওয়ার্ক প্লেস, সেখান থেকে যে ইভলিউশনটা হবে, এই আগে এটা ছিল, এখন এটাই হবে, আই এম প্রগ্রেসিং টুয়ার্ডস এ নিউ কালচার, রাইট? সো সেটা যদি হয়ে যায়, তখন আমার কালচারাল অ্যানথ্রোপোলজিটা লাগছে। আবার যখন একটা গ্রুপ ডায়নামিক্স হচ্ছে, যেখানে পাওয়ার প্লে হচ্ছে, সেখানে আমার পলিটিক্যাল সায়েন্সটা লাগছে। তো সোশ্যাল সায়েন্সেসের বিভিন্ন অ্যাসপেক্টটা মিলে আমি অর্গানাইজেশনাল বিহেভিয়ার একটা পাচ্ছি, যেখানে হাউ পিপল বিহেভ ইন দ্যাট ওয়ার্ক প্লেস, ইন দ্য অর্গানাইজেশন। সেখানে উই উইল টক অ্যাবাউট অর্গানাইজেশনাল ডেভেলপমেন্ট। ইউ আর হ্যাভিং আ স্ট্র্যাটেজি, you are having a vision. Actually, you are having the vision. That's the first thing, first step. You're having a vision. You're having a mission statement. In one or two lines, you're telling the mission. Now, again, I will come back to this thing. Why I'm reiterating again and again. The group, it might not have a common goal, but the team has a common goal. Now, in the professional context, maybe you're not working in a project, but still you have a common goal. What can be the common goal? The mission statement of the company can be your common goal. The company has a cultural statement. This is the thing we maintain in our organization. This is the attitude we maintain in our workplace, in the employees. It's not something we have imposed on the employees. This higher management has imposed on the employees. Rather, they have created a mission statement. Everybody is motivated by the mission statement. That can become a common goal. Vision, the thing we start with, that can be a common goal. You're starting with a vision, right? Everybody is coming together surrounding that vision, or around the vision they are working. That can become a common goal. Now, when we are actually taking it an action plan attitude, we are getting a mission statement. We have to achieve this, we have to achieve this, this is the thing we have to achieve. But vision, we have a grand vision also. So we got the vision, we got the mission statement. Accordingly, we have designed our strategy. Now, when you have the vision and mission statement very clarified in your psyche, that's a great thing. That's a mark of great leadership also. And you are not imposing. Again and again, I am telling the term, you are not imposing it explicitly, right? Maybe you are writing it down on the wall. Maybe you are putting somewhere so that people can see where they are, যখন করিডোরের মধ্যে দিয়ে they are walking through the corridor, they can see it again and again. So it affects the subconscious also. But what it actually means is you are motivating the employees without even nagging behind their back. You have created a vision, a mission statement. Maybe the freshers or the other employees, they have joined your organization motivated by the vision and the mission statement. Apple এর ক্ষেত্রে হয়েছিল, Google এর ক্ষেত্রে হয়েছে, Tesla এর ক্ষেত্রে আজকে হয়েছে, SpaceX এ হয়েছে. There are big companies, Virgin এর ক্ষেত্রে হয়েছে, who have done great entrepreneurship. তাদের vision, mission statement এত strong ছিল, people were driven by that vision or mission statement. Even outside the organization, as well as inside the organization. যেটা আমি সবসময় বলি, পাবলিকটা দুই রকম হতে পারে। ইন্টারনাল পাবলিক, when we are talking about the employees, যারা actually who are working towards the organizational goals in a professional way. Stakeholders যদি আমি বলি, তার একটা পার্ট হচ্ছে আমার ইন্টারনাল পাবলিক। আবার এক্সটার্নাল পাবলিক যারা আমার কাস্টমার্স হতে পারে, বা অর্গানাইজেশনের যারা একদম ওয়ার্ক এনভায়রনমেন্টের বাইরে যারা আছে, they can be stakeholders also. I have already discussed this, so I won't go into the detail. But we have to keep them in mind also. Because with the brand we are creating, the impact we are having in the lives of people, all these things matter. It's not about just creating one-time product and giving it to people, fooling them so that they buy that. That's not how you build a great brand. It's a promise you make to your customers. And the promise you're also making to your employees. And when your employees are driven by that promise, maybe that mission statement, maybe that vision, maybe that common goal, they are motivated to work in a better way. The environment gets the vibe, that collective vibe, that collective consciousness that pushes you to do something great. And that's great leadership. That's a great culture to have. So all these things matter. Now, mindset. When we talk about mindset, what comes to our mind? When we talk about entrepreneurship and mindset, resilience, perseverance, But what happens is, why I am mentioning this thing again and again, there are some people in Indian organization, there are some people, I really laugh at them. They steal the vision and the mission statement also. They don't even understand the meaning of it, but they just steal it just because it sounds great. Can you imagine how can they run an organization, or how they can run an organization? They are looking towards stealing a vision or mission statement from another guy or maybe another company before the world knows it. But since they don't believe it themselves, they don't understand it enough, it's just a mission and a vision statement. It's a vision or a mission statement, just few words, just few lines. The culture they haven't built. The people who are working for them, they are not happy. They are not realizing that it's just there, explicit, just extraneous thing. It's there. People are not believing that. People are not buying into that. They are not motivated by that because it's stolen already, right? Maybe you are not telling them explicitly, but people can get that vibe. You don't believe it yourself. It's not reflected in your attitude. It's not reflected in your personality. How can you expect people to believe that? But in great companies, especially when you look at the leaders, they lead by example. So it becomes a characteristics of their it becomes some characteristics of their personality: innovative, creative, risk taking, strategizing, leading from the front, or orchestrating like an orchestra. These things are great traits of your personality, and when you truly have it inside yourself, genuinely, authentically, then it shows. You don't have to mention a single statement. The way you walk, your walk becomes a statement itself, right? In great companies, we do that. For great leaders, we do that, and we have that in great leaders. And the vibe they carry with themselves, the attitude they bring into the workplace, that motivates people, right? So that's why the mindset is very important, the culture building is very important, psychology is involved, there are other social sciences involved, but it starts with one individual, because you cannot one individual, because they are your assets, one individual, human asset, human capital. Rather, you do proper resource allocation, you cut the waste, you recruit accordingly so that you don't have enough waste, right? So that's very important, the way you do resource allocation, but you treat your human resource not just like a slave, rather you treat him or her like an asset. He or she plays a significant part building the organization. Then we make great organization, and everything happens automatically. You just build the culture, you just build the organization, you just do your work truly, and that comes from within. People come up with great stories. Since we are talking about entertainment companies, people come up with great stories. If you talk about media companies, they come up with great articles. They are not always looking for manipulation. They're coming up with great stories they really want to convey, they really want to communicate, they really want to share, right? No small idea is discarded. You are having a culture where you are open to suggestions, open to opinions of people. They can take part in the decision making process if needed, right? That's a great culture to have. Now what happens is, it is not only a part of human resource anymore. You as a senior manager, or you as a CXO, you have to you can be a CEO, you can be a CMO, whatever it is, you can be CIO also. Whenever you are in that zone or in that space of the organization, you have to have some uh, strategic management abilities in your forte or in your toolbox, right? So if you don't understand the vision enough yourself, then how can you lead people? There are layers, there are hierarchies, right? uh, Maybe below you there is a line, then there is a line, then there is a line. But if you don't understand the vision enough, you won't be able to communicate properly through the lines, and you have too much ego, to have arrogance, then you know it, people don't get to know it, because you are too arrogant to share it with other people. So the entire culture gets destroyed. But what gives you the arrogance? You are providing them money. So money, that is not a great way to live. That is not a great way to build company. Because again, I will come back to that. We are building modern organizations, right? Modern entertainment organizations. So in those organizations, again, I will mention and emphasize, we treat human resources as assets, human capital. Obviously, sometimes from a business perspective, you think about an ROI, or return on investment, because you are giving them the resources, they are coming up with something. That's professionalism. But you're not forcing them to do so. Rather, you are building the culture in such a way, you are improving. Suppose one person is not sure about his or her career goals in the organization. It's not only a job of mostly it's the job of the human resource management, but maybe as a mentor, as a manager, as a buddy, as a senior person, you are listening to that employee. What is his or her career goals? You are doing a counseling yourself. Then you might coordinate with the human resource management. But that happens when you have the mindset in place that my human resource is my asset, not just like a slave. Whatever happens to him or her, I get affected, right? Because he is a part of my group, part of my team, professional team, part of my company, irrespective of the position he or she belongs to. That's a great attitude to have. But when you do that kind of counseling, then what happens is maybe sometimes the productivity is suffering, the efficiency is suffering, the person gets deviated from his or her professional goals. Many barriers can come into the picture, personal barriers, psychological barriers, communication barriers. That's why you can promote a culture of communication, as I already mentioned. They are coming up with their problems proactively. Sometimes you are listening to them reactively. Proactive approach, reactive approach, both, depending on the need of the hour. But when you create a culture, when they're aligned with the vision and the strategy, and you communicate that really well throughout the culture, throughout the team of employees, then even if they get deviated for a while, they can come back to it because you believe in it. The people around you believe in it. The top management believes in it. They will believe in it too. They can learn a lot by just watching you, people performing, the top leader performing. Lead by example. That's a great thing. Now, resilience and perseverance, two things, two great mindset we can have. Not giving up, uh, creative risk taking, doing great innovations, and sharing a great relationship, building a great bond, a sense of belonging in that organization. Humor plays a big part, because when you don't take things too seriously, they can bring the humor into that workplace. That humor, wit, and that can just light up the entire workplace. That humor, sometimes it's needed, maybe most of the time, because sometimes when people are working very hard, they need some humor, right? And when it is coming from your peer groups, your colleagues, what can be better than that? Now, resilience and perseverance, but what is the mistake in some Indian organizations? I won't say Indian, some organizations which are situated in India, they don't have the eye in the progress. They are very superficial by their nature. So as they steal all those lines, as they steal the lines from the books, they just mention all those things in their speeches, but they don't really believe in it. So if you take an extempore, they won't be able to say much also. And if you keep asking questions, probing questions, they won't be able to come up with something else. But when you have an eye on the progress, yourself at least, you can guide the top management also. That maybe you are deviating from the goal. Maybe you are continuously looking at the big picture, you are not looking at the details enough. Sometimes you need to look at the details. So that's a very, what I can say is that's a both way communication. When you are building it together, irrespective of everything. But sometimes when your eye is not on the progress, Your boss, there are bosses in some organizations who can actually think something ill of you. At least what I can, if I explain that in a very peculiar way, if something happens to you in a very wrong manner, if something wrong happens to you, if your career gets stalled, if you don't achieve enough in your life, that is the achievement of your boss. I don't know what kind of boss he or she is, or what you have done to him, but that's not a great attitude to have in any organization. Again, I will come back to that. We are talking about modern organizations who are going for innovations, creativity, experimentations, and it's a dynamic business environment, continuously evolving, continuously changing. Now you have to stand for something. What you can stand for is the common goal, the vision, the mission statement you have, maybe the strategy you have developed or you have got from your top management. That is something that can work as a guideline. Even if you get deviated, you can come back to it just based on the vision, mission statement, and the strategy. Right? Then you can create a new kind of action plan. Previously, it was an action plan, and then when you are very clear about the strategy or the vision or the mission statement, maybe you take some time out, maybe you take a step back, and you can come up with a new kind of action plan. Maybe you can involve a different set of people, diversity, inclusion, equality, if I talk about people from different backgrounds, people from different attitude preferences, and they are also giving their inputs. Maybe taking all these things into consideration, you can come up with a different kind of action plan. But what are you doing? You're trying to achieve that vision, that mission statement. Maybe you're increasing your productivity, maybe you're increasing your effectiveness, efficiency, right, resource allocation, but you're not compromising on your vision or mission statement. And that comes from your core principles. The business should have some core values you believe in, and you have to believe in all those values, because otherwise it will fade away. It will just stay as a few words, few lines, and it won't be reflected in your culture, in your work, no matter whatever you tell, no matter whatever you market, no matter whatever you sell, right? So you have to build the culture, and you should be the best one to answer that. As a senior management, you should be the best one to answer that, whether it's working or not. Sometimes you have to survey, you have to talk to people, different kinds of people, build that environment where they can get nourished, right? Sometimes maybe they are doing extracurricular activities, or maybe some other activities apart from work, that is also building their personality, maybe character. You can design trainings, right? So sometimes what happens is, today I won't use any whiteboard. I will just have the discussion, and from the next sessions we will keep using the whiteboard again, because I will discuss a lot of theories. So we will talk about Bandura's social learning theory. We will talk about cognitive learning theory. We will talk about positive, negative reinforcement, punishment, rewards, and all that stuff. We will talk about Herzberg motivation theory, Porter-Lawler motivation theory. We will talk about Maslow. Obviously, Maslow is a big part. So self-actualization you are striving towards, and you are starting with the basic needs, clothes, shelter, food, whatever it is. And then we will talk about ERG theory, which is very close to Maslow, but in a better way. It has represented things in a better way. But many people connect to Maslow in a better way. So I will talk about all those theories and what specifically you can get from those theories. We will talk about all those things with examples, with practical life examples. But you understand the basic foundation, why you should study that. Because when I used to talk to people, they ask me, why do you understand all those things so well? We don't feel like reading about it. You don't feel like reading about it because you think it's something very external. It's a part of your life, right? The way you behave, the way you live your life, that's a part of your being. And the self you bring, or maybe the professional self, if I mention it specifically, you bring to that workplace, that helps contribute to achieve something in that workplace, maybe professionally, maybe emotionally, maybe psychologically, maybe creatively, maybe experimentally, whatever it is. but it's something you bring to the workplace, right? So when you are aligned with that vision, sometimes distractions come, but you maintain your self discipline, you maintain your attitude because you are driven by something, and the drive comes from that core principle the company is striving towards, the company is holding on to, company is standing for. It may be the vision, it can be the mission statement, it can be a common goal, and you are working toward the common goal. Then you are building a team. You cannot build a team if you don't have a common goal. You are trying to exploit each other out. You are trying to exploit each other. You are trying to, making each other fight. That's not a team, right? That's a group. People are coming together. You don't know. You don't even know where you are going. You don't even know where you want to go. You don't have any action plan. You don't have a strategy. You just want to enjoy the dynamics where people are interacting together. I don't know what kind of business it is, but that's not modern business, right? So in modern business scenario, we don't do that. We have a vision, we have a mission statement, we believe in that, we maintain the environment, we build that culture. Then whoever comes to that culture, from the recruitment process, we are actually selecting the employees. We are testing whether they really belong to that culture or not, right? So we have questionnaire, we have questions through which we can actually test whether they really believe in that culture or not. If they do, they can be taken in, they can be a part of that culture. Then according to the skill set, we might do job rotation and all those human resource activities. But the culture, what is the drive, right? That is why you do great stuff. And if you don't stand for something, you can fall for anything. What happens is when you only want to make the money, profit maximization is a great thing. You should try to do that, but not at the cost of making a poor or mediocre product, right? It affects your brand. Now you're thinking that you try to fool people, you have done it many times, you will continue to do the same thing again and again. Who are you fooling? You're fooling yourself, right? If you really put things in the right context in front of the right people, they will see that it is because of that ignorance they are believing in you. The moment they know the truth, they will leave you. And there is another way, which is the right way of doing business, which is the modern way of doing business, the global business scenario, whatever it is. You become very transparent, right? Because you don't have anything to hide. You are very confident about your mission. You are very confident about your mission statement, your vision, the things you believe in, your core principles, your core values. You don't have anything to hide from your core values. Come on, man. You believe in your core values. You believe in something, your principles. And that is very contagious. When you create your vision, your mission statement accordingly, in your strategy it gets reflected, in your action plan it gets reflected. The way you work towards productivity, the way you work towards efficiency, the way you work towards waste management, in every aspect, that attitude is reflected, and people will work for it because they believing in that too. We are working for something bigger than the work itself, something much bigger than the work itself. Then you do great stuff, right? Winning awards and all these things can come as a byproduct, but what are you offering? Winning awards and many other things, those things can come as a byproduct, but the most important question is, what are you offering? Or maybe one of the most important questions, what are you offering to the marketplace, to your customers, to your consumers, right? Empathy is one of the most important things. If you have to keep yourself in the customer's shoes, would you have liked it? That's a great question to ask, right? So when I make a movie, when I will produce a movie, when I produce a movie, when I choose a movie that I can produce or I will want to produce, I ask these questions very specifically. Otherwise, I won't share it with the audience. Now, it's my personal attitude, and when I have talked to some great business people, they have shared the same thing. Maybe they are in different industries. but it's the fundamental attitude you carry in any business you take or you are in, right? Your product might change. You're making movies. Maybe you're in a manufacturing industry. Maybe you're in FMCG. Now there are some core principles which never change, right? That's an attitude. That's a mindset. So here we will talk about mindset. We'll talk about psychology. We'll talk about motivation. But something you should believe in, your core values, your principles, right? Fundamentals, your vision, your mission statement. Accordingly, you will create many action plans. People will help you to achieve that. Your stakeholders, external, internal, they will guide you to achieve that action plan in a better way. We are doing it together. And also, we are shaping the economy of the country. Macro or microeconomics, we will talk about. We are shaping the economy of the country also. So everything is happening in a great way, and that is reflected in the product also, right? So again, I will talk about all those aspects, but this is the series of mindset, psychology, and motivation. There is one thing called intrinsic motivation that I just mentioned. When something comes from within, you feel the urge to do it, and something can come from external environment. That's the extrinsic motivation. It's always great to have the intrinsic motivation, and that's a part of the culture also. When you become a part of that culture, when you belong to that culture, your attitude, your personality get shaped as someone who has intrinsic motivation. No matter whatever you do in your professional environment, maybe in your personal life, it becomes a part of your personality. Intrinsic motivation. Whatever you're doing, you're trying to give your best. And whenever you are thinking about extrinsic motivation, sometimes you do need that. There is something on the wall, there is something in front of you, maybe on your desk, that is giving you the extrinsic motivation, right? Even if you get deviated, sometimes different incidents happen in our life, we might get distracted. But those are the things that can help you in the extrinsic motivation scenario. I will end it here today. From the next sessions, we will talk about different theories in a different way, as we always do, and how we can apply that in any business. Specifically, we are maintaining the media entertainment as our priority, the media entertainment sector. But you take insurance, you take banks and banking and financial services, you take FMCG, whatever you take, you can apply all those things, right? So I will end it here. Like, share, subscribe, and see you next one. Thank you so much. Intrinsic motivation. Try to achieve that. Your life will change no matter whatever you do. One day, if you do it really well, one day you will become the leader you aspire to become. And people will be looking towards you to show the path. That can come only from intrinsic motivation. If you become a slave of extrinsic motivation, then you cannot become a great leader. Thank you so much.